Hey folks, hope you're having a great day. Hey, in today's video, I want to talk about the weekly numbers, but I'm also want to talk about, is right now a good time to buy and sell your home, or should you just go ahead and wait? Now, let's take a look at those numbers. So right now, there were 5,132 homes hit the market this past week. 4,376 of those were brand new listings, and 759 were homes that came back on the market. Last week, we had a total of 13,001 homes went under contract or came off the market. And you can see here, we'll pop the data up, and you can see you've got option, pending, sold, expired, canceled, withdrawn, and hold. The good thing is, look at that sold, man. The sold still staying strong with 4,421 homes selling. And look at the price reductions. The price reductions have actually come down quite a bit. For quite a while, we've been looking at about 8,000 to 10,000 homes did price reductions every single week. And this week we had 5,000. I think last week it was like 4,000 or something like that. So we are seeing the number of price reductions come down. So does that mean more people are pricing the home better? Or does that just mean that there's less inventory on the market? I'd say it's a little A and B. Now for mortgage rates, man, they're just going to do this for a while, right? We're not going to see a big drop. You can actually see last week we were sitting at 6.29. This week we're sitting at 6.24. And I genuinely don't believe we're going to come out of the sixes for quite some time. And I'm still seeing a lot of people and a lot of real estate agents and stuff share information on social media saying that the Fed rate dropped, so your mortgage rates are coming down. Just grab them by the cheek, give them a kiss on the forehead, and just say, hey, we're learning together. But there's really no correlation between the Fed rate and your mortgage rate. And there's tons of data out there and information and video if you want to do some research on that. So let's talk about the topic. Should you even be thinking about buying or selling right before or right after Christmas? And I think it really depends. When you really think about it, you have Christmas, you have the New Year's, you have people getting over the money they spent for the holidays, you have hunting season coming to an end, so some people are going to slip into a mild depression for a few weeks. And all that is really taking people's attention away from real estate, and that reflects in the data. Now, over the past 10 years, December has had the highest number of expired listings out of all the months in the year. But surprisingly, December's actually had the highest closed median price out of all the months in the year, excluding 2022 and 2023. Now, on the flip side, if you jump 1 month over, January has had the lowest median close price of all the months of the year. Now, I used 2018 and 2019 specifically for this example, and I'll explain why here in a second. But you can see in December 2018, the median price was just a little over $246,000. You jump 1 month over, it's $228,000. 2019, you can see it's a little bit under 260. You jump 1 month over, it's 250. Now, the reason why I use those 2 months is if you go back in time, you may remember or you might be able to find stuff on this, but there were a lot of people saying that the market was like right on the edge of a full-on collapse. Like, don't buy a home because home values are about to crash. Well, we all saw what happened with home values. And I genuinely believe values would have kept going up, maybe not at the pace they did, but values would have kept going up even if COVID hadn't happened. Now, skip over those crazy years and look, December 2024, the median price was $345,000. Jump 1 month over, it was $310,000. Well, that's kind of interesting. And this lines up with what I shared in my last video about the best time to list a home. And you can make a strong argument that November is one of the best months to list in North Texas. So what does this mean for buyers and sellers as we finish this year and we move into Q1 of 2026? At first glance, you might think it's a bad time to sell and a better time to buy. And maybe that's partly true, but here's something I've learned over the years. The data doesn't tell the whole story. And around the holidays, many owner-occupied, well-maintained, nice homes come off the market. And a lot of times because homeowners just don't want to deal with the showings. Now, think about this. You're seeing this big surge of delistings, right? And that's because people just don't want to deal with the showings during the holidays. And a lot of people are dealing with vacations and doing other stuff like that, so they don't want to mess with it, right? And what stays active tends to be more dated homes, overpriced homes, less desirable homes, but a lot of those properties have a tendency to be vacant. And because of that, buyers who need to buy a home, so they're in a position where they have to or feel like they have to buy a home. And there's not a lot of good options out there. And I've seen this firsthand, When a clean, well-maintained home goes on the market and it's priced well at this time of year, it performs very differently than, let's say, that home around the corner that went up $100,000 overpriced during the summertime. They've done a series of price reductions. The home needs some updates. It's just a different market for that home than that brand new listing. And I also hear this consistently from buyers at open houses or buyers that I'm working with, that they want to find a home. They're eager to buy a property. They just can't find something that they like because there's just not very much on the market. So what do you think? Do you think it's a good time to buy or sell a house? Or do you really think that the data kind of paints a narrative that's not true because it doesn't take into consideration the lack of good quality listings on the market at this time of year? So when homes are selling, inherently, they're going to be less quality on average than, let's say, during your busier times of the year. So that brings the value down. So you can maybe even argue, and I'd love to see if I can find a case study on this or something. Let's say a nice home goes up in, I don't know, March, April, May, January, or June, July, something like that. If that same home goes up then, is it going to perform better during the hot buying and selling season? Or is it going to perform better when it goes up earlier in the year where it's competing with less listings, less buyers, but less competition in regards to listings? Now, this ties into a couple of videos that I've done in the past where I talk about when's the best time to buy and sell a home, different little trends that happen throughout the year. But you tell me what you think. Have you ever bought and sold a house this time of year? And what was your experience? As a buyer, were you feeling extremely frustrated because you kept getting catfished by these nice listing photos and then you'd show up in person and the home didn't match the photos? Or were you a seller and you felt like you just didn't get the activity you were hoping for? I don't know. But I would say it's not necessarily a bad time to buy or sell, and it's not necessarily a good time to buy or sell. I think it's just different, and if you're relying solely on the data, I don't think it's going to paint an accurate picture for you. But you let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, have a great day. Oh, have a good Christmas too.